Welcome back to the Pastor's Study. I hope you're having a great Wednesday. It's a little warmer today, the sun's shining. It is a beautiful way to start this midweek. Now I know sometimes days go really well and sometimes they just don't. And I don't know what your week's been like. Mine's had its ups and downs, but so far it's been pretty good. And I'm not complaining. I'm really enjoying that and thanking God for it. I want to share a verse today from Deuteronomy 31:6. This is meant to be a bit of encouragement. God is speaking to us and said, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, for the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you." Now I know this verse is lifted out of its context in a lot of ways. And in many ways, it was intended for another time and another place. But the principle here is sound. God is with us. God works for our good. So we don't need to be afraid. We don't need to live with fear. We can be strong and courageous. We can have courage. We can have assurance. Because we know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. So we don't need to be terrified or afraid because of the events happening around us. And I know there's a lot that we could live in anxiety every day if we really wanted to. Nuclear war, global warming, terrorism, poverty, drugs, cancer. I mean, the list of possible anxiety sources today is seemingly endless. But we don't need to be afraid. We don't need to be terrified. Because our God goes with us. God is our shepherd. He cares for His flock. We are the sheep of His pasture. And He's not going to leave us or forsake us. Now, you and I may be those kind of sheep that wander away from the flock. We don't pay attention to the shepherd and get ourselves in trouble. Yes, that happens. But Jesus is the kind of shepherd who will leave the 99 sheep alone in the pasture and go find the one that's missing, risking the rest to save the one. It's that kind of love that God has for you and I. The same kind of love that we see in Jesus' incarnation. His willingness to come, live with us, to be human, and to even die, so that you and I might have life. Not a shadow of life, not just being alive, existing, but having life to the full, thriving. This is what God intends for us. Yes, it requires work on our part. But God has made it possible. You and I do need to do our work. No way around it. God will do His. So, as it says in Deuteronomy 31:6, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them, whatever the them happens to be in your life. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. Be strong and courageous.